Hey, this is Will with Everything No One Taught You About Money, and in this video, we're going to talk about 9 ways you can increase your monthly cash flow by $1,000 or more without working harder or getting another job. When we talk about increasing cash flow monthly, people generally think they either need to cut expenses or go earn more money by taking a job or starting a side gig, whatever the case may be. These are 9 different ways where you can increase cash flow just by how you manage your money. So let's dive right in. The first way you can increase your monthly cash flow is by not overpaying on certain types of debt. So I've got a whole video on this you should go check out. But the bottom line here is there's a couple different debts that probably don't make sense to be paying down early or trying to get rid of quickly. And it really depends, and we have a calculator, we have a debt score calculator that you should check out as well to help you figure out which ones to pay off and not pay off. But the 2 biggest offenders that I generally see are mortgage payments and certain types of student loans based on, the interest rate and how much is left on the loan. You're putting money that you desperately need in a place where you cannot get it again and where it really doesn't benefit you. You don't get any benefit from paying down your mortgage early until the mortgage is completely gone. And the same thing is the case with those student loans. So hear me when I say this. There are circumstances where maybe it makes sense to go ahead and knock off your mortgage if you don't have very much left and the payment's really inefficient. And same thing with student loans. It really is a case-by-case basis. There's no universal rule here, but generally speaking, I think these are the 2 where if there's a reason where you wouldn't pay it down early and ahead of time, these 2 could possibly fall into that category. And again, the whole premise here is we're trying to increase cash flow because inflation has basically caused everybody to take a pay cut, specifically if you're a W-2 employee and you get a fixed paycheck every 2 weeks. The second way you can increase your monthly cash flow is you would consider pausing contributions on 529s, HSAs, 401ks, IRAs, all the qualified plans really. This is kind of heresy. This is going to really bother some people. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? The reason you would do that is if you are having trouble staying afloat month to month, or if you're going backwards. All that money we're putting away that's growing at, S&P 500, 7 or 8%, whatever the case is, that's fine. That's not a bad thing. But we've got to make it to 59.5. There's a lot of things that are going to happen between now and then. And if you're barely staying afloat or going backwards, it might make sense to consider pausing these contributions to increase your cash flow so that you can stabilize and get ahead. Because again, we're putting money in a place where it's hard to get. And when you do go and get it, there are taxes and penalties. And closely tied to that, the third way that you can increase your monthly cash flow is you might need to break the glass. If you do have a substantial amount sitting in a retirement account or something like that, there are times when it's going to make sense to take money out of retirement, yes, even paying the penalties and the taxes, to get yourself out of really bad debt. So if you have really, really high credit card debt because you had some kind of emergency or something came up and that 18 to 25% on the credit card is eating you alive, and you're going backwards at a quick pace, there's a lot of reasons why you would consider taking that out, even if it means withdrawing from retirement. The fourth way you can increase your monthly cash flow has to do with housing. If you bought a house in the last 3 to 5 years and the payment at the time made a lot of sense and was affordable, but for whatever reason, you had a job change or you had an emergency, and for some reason that payment has started to become a little bit of a burden. It might not make sense to sell your house for a variety of reasons. One of the things you can do to keep your house but get that payment off of your back is you could consider actually renting for the time being, maybe for the next year or 2. You would move out of your house, you would move into a rental that is considerably more affordable than whatever your mortgage payment is. Then you would rent out your house to somebody else. Ideally, you would be cash flow positive, you would charge enough rent to cover your entire mortgage payment and then some. But honestly, even if you break even, this makes sense. And I think there's even a case that even if you can't charge the full amount to cover your mortgage, let's say you can only charge, a couple $100 less than what your mortgage payment is. There is still a case to do this. So let's say your mortgage payment is $3,500 a month, but let's say that you're able to rent it for $3,300 a month. So you're still carrying $200 of that monthly mortgage payment, but you're able to find a place to rent for $2,400 a month. In that scenario, you just freed up $900 a month. And this is probably not your favorite strategy, but again, this is temporary. This is to quit going backwards. This is to help you stay afloat. You're gonna do this for 6 months or 12 months or 24 months or whatever makes sense. And eventually you're gonna move back into your house. The fifth way you can increase your monthly cash flow, if you own a house, you can go back and look at where your value is in relation to the loan that you have on the house. If the equity you have in the house is somewhere between 20 to 22% or more, you should be in a position where you can reach out to whoever is servicing your loan and get private mortgage insurance, or PMI, dropped. PMI is generally going to be anywhere from $50 to $350 of your mortgage payment that you're paying to provide the lender with insurance in case you default on the loan. After you have 22% equity or more in the house, meaning that the loan balance is only 78% or less, they should take private mortgage insurance out of your payment at that time. The sixth way you can increase your monthly cash flow is if you have 20 to 22% equity in your house or more, you can have the escrow account dropped off of the mortgage. If you bought your house and put less than 20% down, the lender created an escrow account for you, which is where over the year they pre-collect enough money to pay your insurance bill and your tax bill for you ahead of time. So let's just say your property tax bill is due in April of next year. They are going to be collecting each month enough money ahead of time to pay that bill in full when it comes due. So if you get rid of the escrow account, you obviously are still gonna have to pay insurance and taxes, but the difference is that money is in your control and in your possession for the entire year ahead of time. That money could be held in reserves to help you sleep better at night. It could deal with emergencies that happen before it's due and you have time to pay it back, or you could just have it in a savings account or a money market or something like that, earning a little bit of interest over that time instead of letting the lender hold it. The seventh way you can look at to increase your cash flow each month is by changing your W-2 withholding. I know a lot of people really enjoy getting a tax refund at the end of the year, and I don't know how big your refund is. For a minute, just try to think the last time you paid taxes, how big was your refund? So what if you had that amount of money to work with over the entire year instead of getting it back in April? I know you've heard people say this, but they say it's like giving the government an interest-free loan for a year. So let's just say your refund was $2,400 last year. That's $200 a month over the year that you could have had control of and been using. Let's up the number. Let's say it was $12,000. That's $1,000 a month that you could have had and been using over that year. And the eighth and final way you can increase your cash flow each month is by giving money away. What the heck am I talking about? God created money and created the rules that govern the universe. And the money you have in your possession today, whether it's a lot or little, whether you have debt up to your eyeballs, whatever your financial situation is, the money you have today is not all for you. There is always somebody less fortunate than you and I. A portion of what we have is meant to support people that are in need. If you read the Bible teaches that when you give money away, what you give not only is returned to you, but it's returned to you with increase. Giving is also an excellent way to maintain a healthy relationship with money. You don't have to give a gigantic amount away. There's times where it's appropriate to give a huge amount away, and there's times where it's appropriate to give just what someone needs or just a little bit. So I would encourage you to find a way to just try to give away some of your resources to somebody who is in need. And again, what I believe and what I've witnessed and experienced in my own life is not only do you get that money back, it comes back with increase, which is why it's a way to increase your cash flow. Thanks for watching this video. I hope it's helpful. I'm curious which one of these stuck out most to you or is immediately applicable. Let me know in the comments. More videos to come, and I'll see you in the next one.